Hello and welcome to A View from the Cab. Had a bit of a flashback this morning. A flashback for quite a few years now. When I was leaving for work, I stepped out the front door. The milkman had delivered the milk, and you know, it was my job to then, you know, deal with the milk, take it indoors. And it just had me flashing back to when I was a kid, many moons ago now, to when we used to get free milk in school. We used to get the little, I suppose, half-pint bottles of milk back in the olden days. You know, a man had come round on a horse and cart. And, you know, you remember those, the horse and cart? And, no, he didn't. Actually, I don't really know what he drove around in. It was probably just a regular milk float. But anyway, that's by the by. Yeah, so we used to get these little bottles of milk, you know, at playtime, first playtime. And you'd have a milk monitor, and it was somebody's job to distribute the milk bottles to his classmates, his or her classmates. It may have been, you know, ye early 80s, but we can't have any of that sort of nonsense going on here. So, and I thought, you know, that'd be so cool if they could bring that back now. You know, just that little thing at playtime for the youngsters. Because for us, it was, oh yes, playtime. Oh, we get milk. Yeah, sweet. You know, we'd run along to where the milk was kept. You know, there's usually a stack of crates. And yeah, and then of course you had Margaret Thatcher, Maggie Thatcher, the milk snatcher, and she stopped it all, didn't she? She said, no, we can't have these children having a healthy playtime drink. That just wouldn't be good. We'll take that away, because that's what, let's be honest, that's what conservative governments do. I'm not going to make this all, oh, if he'd been wearing a blue tie and if she'd been wearing a red tie and all that. It's just what conservative governments do. Let's be fair, right? Anyway, so, and I thought that'd be so cool if they could bring that back, because it would, you know, it'd sort of cut the thing down of kids and these sugary drinks that are so bad. You know, because what kid is going to go into the, you know, you imagine you're sort of a kid on the way to school and your friends go into the shop, the corner shop, you know, and they come out with a can of Coke or a fizzy drink, and you come out with milk. You know, you're just going to get laughed at. You know, even the kids now would just rip the arse out of you, wouldn't they? You know, because we all know what kids are like. They're horrible little creatures. You know, so it'd be better than one of these sugar-loaded panic attacks in a can that people are so fond of buying. You know, but no, you couldn't do it. You couldn't do it, because now everybody's got a thing, haven't they? Everybody's got a, oh, well, I can't have that, you see, because I'm lactose intolerant, or I can't have that because I'm gluten intolerant, and blah blah blah. And you know, everybody's got a thing. When I was a kid, and I don't want to make this sound, oh, listen to the old boy rabbiting on, things were much better in my day and you youngsters and blah blah blah. You know, I don't want to make it sound like that. Everybody's got a thing now, haven't they? You know, I've got IBS, so I can't have tomatoes. You know, I've got celiac disease, so I can't have certain types of bread. I'm lactose intolerant, so I can't have milk. You know, and it's all just, everybody's got a thing now. You know, vegetarians, I can't eat that, I'm vegetarian. I'm not ripping on these people, it's just, I mean, my own daughter's a vegetarian, bless her. You know, you've got to have your quota, I suppose, ain't you? You know, but I don't know, when I was a kid, we didn't have these things. You know, when I was a kid, none of my friends growing up, or even anybody I could even think of, was a vegetarian. It just wasn't a thing. You know, you get home, you're having pork chops, and that's what you're having. You're having lamb chops, that's what you're having. Do you know what I mean? It's the way it is. This is for dinner. I mean, it was always a case of, this is for dinner, you either like it or you don't. That was always a thing when I was a kid. You know, I'm not messing around cooking lots of different dinners. If you don't like it, don't eat it. You know, and it was as simple as that. But nobody was a vegetarian. Nobody in my whole school, nobody was like, do you know what I mean? These things that they have now, I mean, I don't know. It just seems really strange to me. And this is the thing, because I am of a certain age, you know, the youngsters talk to me, and my children talk to me about different things. And I think, why is that such a big deal? You know, why is it, in my day, that wouldn't have even been an issue. It'd just be, you deal with it and you move on. Maybe things, I don't know, and I don't want this to sound like a whole toxic masculinity thing, but when I was a kid, you just didn't talk about things. You just, you know, maybe that's where my generation went a bit wrong, because you just didn't talk about things. You just, I don't know, this has happened, let's deal with it, and we'll, oh, fantastic, stuck me on a bus now, awesome. That's just what everybody wants. You know, you just didn't grizzle about things, really. You didn't cry about stuff. You just got on with it. You just, oh well, you know. And I don't know, it just seems really, I don't know, a lot of what people talk about now, the younger people than me talk about, I'm just left at odds with it all, really, because I think, well, why don't you just get on with it? You know, that's how, if you was born in the 70s and that's how it was, grew up in the 80s and 90s, you know, you just don't talk about you. And I can't believe I'm going to say the F word. Alright, prepare yourself for this. There's an F word coming up that makes me really uncomfortable. Feelings. You don't talk about your feelings, you just go on with it. Oh, I feel like I want to become a vegetarian. No, you don't. You feel like you want to go home and have the dinner your mum's put down for you, or go without, you know. I don't know, some of it I think is just done to be a bit trendy, I think. I could be so wide of the mark. I could be very wide of the mark, but a lot of it just seems to be jumping on the bandwagon, the gluten-free bandwagon. I don't know. Have you noticed a lot of these starving people in Africa and South America? They're not gluten-free, are they? They're not vegetarians, are they? Not lactose intolerant. Food turns up, they eat it because they're hungry. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe in this country, in this day and age, you know, there's more scope for, I don't know though, but then you have got hungry people. But then I don't suppose the hungry people are going to say, oh, thanks for the, you know, the person sitting outside of Greg's in a soaking wet sleeping bag on a freezing cold British winter day. You know, they're not going to say, you're not going to give them a sausage roll and a cup of coffee and oh, I'm sorry, but you know, I can't eat that sausage roll, that hot sausage roll, because I'm gluten thingy, I can't have gluten, and I can't drink that coffee because it's got milk in it. They're going to say, thank you very much, that's awesome. Do you know what I mean? Maybe it's the people that have just got too much choice, you know, and they want to complicate their lives a bit more. I don't know. When I was a kid, right, true story, when I was a kid, and I'm talking about a young kid now, I'm talking about 7 or 8 years old, maybe 9 at a push, so early 80s, right? At the end of the day, the end of the school day, we was told, right, start putting everything away, pack away time as it was called. It's pack away time, start picking up all the crayons and things that you've dropped on the floor, you know, start get sorted out, right? And teacher said to one of the boys in my class, he said, get down there, pick them crayons up off the floor. So he's knelt down. He's knelt down and he's to pick up these crayons and felt tips and what have you. And he's knelt on a drawing pin, true story. He's knelt on a drawing pin, right? So he's obviously like, he's oh, you know, oh, miss, I've knelt on a drawing pin, I've got a drawing pin stuck in my knee. And the teacher said, and I kid you not, she said, what were you doing on the floor anyway? Should be down there messing around. Wouldn't have happened, would it? You know, literally 5 seconds earlier, she said, get down there, pick them bits and pieces up. Well, you shouldn't be down there, should you? You know, and he got a bollocking for doing as he was told. And that's how it was. That's how it was. You just became accustomed to, oh, I don't believe it, I've left my coffee in the car. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. I brought a cup of coffee from home and I've left it in the car. What an idiot. I was just going to reach then and have a nice slurp of my hot coffee and I've left it in the car, in the door pocket. What an idiot. Never mind, life is unfair, you see. That proves how unfair it all is. What was you doing with a cup of coffee in the first place? You should be having it. You know, and that's just how life was for kids in the olden days. I mean, I can remember certain classmates getting the cane. That was a deterrent, and I think things went wrong when they stopped with that threat of the cane. I think things changed drastically. The teachers no longer had any recourse, so there was no reason to not mess about, really. You know, I don't know, things. And I was talking to, years ago, I was talking to my son and one of his school friends had come round after school for one reason or another, and we was talking about the good old days. And I said, yeah, I said, but in the old days, I said, you'd get the cane. And my son's friend went, they wouldn't cane me. I said, mate, they would. He went, no, I wouldn't be getting the cane, mate. I said, trust me, and his name, I might as well just use his first name. I said, Sam, they would, mate. I said, if it was if you'd done something to get the cane, you'd get the cane. Nah, I'd knock them out, mate. I said, you wouldn't. I said, that's not how it was. I said, I saw plenty of lads get the cane when I was at school. Nah, they wouldn't cane me, mate. I'd just knock them out. I said, yeah, but you wouldn't have, though, because it was different in those days. You didn't have these sort of woolly, you know, namby-pamby teachers. It just wasn't a done thing. I said, you'd have got the cane. I said, if you'd have done something that warranted the cane, you'd have got the cane. End of discussion. And he was like, well, yeah, well, you know. I said, well, that's the way it was. You know, it's as simple as that. You'd have got the cane. The end. And that's the thing. You say, oh, well, yeah, I'll just knock him out, wouldn't I? Do you know what I mean? And that's the way kids are now. You know, I know a lot of it was obviously bravado and, you know, giving it the big one, but you think, you know, anybody of sort of in their 40s, you think back to when you was a kid and kids were getting the cane or the slipper or whatever. Kids just didn't go around strutting around acting hard, did they? They just didn't do it. It just wasn't, you know, and if they did, they soon got brought down a peg or two, you know, by the headmaster. I mean, I used to have a very, very strict headmaster, and he was I don't know, when I was a kid, he looked like he was about 8'4". He was a big son of a gun, I tell you what. He was a big, intimidating, scary guy. He was probably only around, thinking logically, he was probably only around 6'2", 6'3", but when you're sort of 8 years old, you know, he's like Goliath, do you know what I mean? But anyway, and he was very strict headmaster, but probably the best headmaster I've ever had anywhere. Of all the schools I've been to, although he was strict and he was a big intimidator, I mean, I'm not ashamed to say, me and two classmates, we did get our bottoms smacked for a particularly stupid thing one day. You know, we got an absolute monster in off of this enormous, gigantic headmaster. We got a monster in that I can still remember. And as we was leaving to go back to class, he smacked us across the backside. You know, and do you know what? None of us, the three of us, never went running home to mum. Oh, mum, the headmaster smacked me this morning, because it just wasn't the done thing. You just dealt with it. I mean, I can always remember we went back to class, and obviously our class teacher knew. He knew what we was going to be in for. He knew, because the three of us, we just turned up back to our desks, desperately trying to hold it all together to stop ourselves from bursting into tears. And our teacher just looked and sort of nodded, and yeah, sit down, you know, let's crack on. You know, he knew we'd had a bollocking, and he knew we was on the verge of tears, and he didn't want to make it any worse, because we'd suffered enough. We'd suffered enough, you know. And he just sort of nodded, yeah, go on, sit down. I know why you're late, it's alright. You know, very informal sort of it wasn't like kids today, do you know what I mean? He didn't, yeah. But I don't know, we didn't go running home to our parents to grizzle and whine and complain. We just got on with it. We just went back into class, got on with our work, and eventually things, you know, things seemed to be a bit better. You know, the absolute monstering, and I do mean a monstering that we'd had. I'm not going to drive through that great big puddle. You know, just sort of became a memory then. And to be fair to his credit, the headmaster never mentioned it again. I mean, I've probably mentioned it more than he ever did. You know, three idiots did something stupid. They got a bollocking, they got their backside smacked, and that was it. We move on. You know, you just get on with life. I mean, in fairness, we didn't do it again. You know, we didn't do it again. But that's just our life was in the ye olden times. You know, it's just the way of things. you did something stupid, you got caught, you got a bollocking, you moved on. You know, and I don't know, the kids today, and even now, if I was to see that headmaster now, I would still, you know, I'd still want to have a conversation with him. I'd still want to, you know, let's leave them headlights on just for a minute, or it's just going to be so dark. You know, and I'd still tell him, shake his hand and tell him he was the best headmaster that I ever had anywhere. You know, he used to walk around. We had an open plan school, and he'd walk around at play times and lunch times with a great big meter ruler, ready to smack the table if he caught one of us where we shouldn't be. But yeah, hands down, the strictest headmaster that gave us the biggest monstering of our lives was the best headmaster, and he taught us a lot. You know, don't be stupid mainly, and don't do stupid stuff. But I don't know, kids now, yeah, they have teachers, and some teachers can be strict, but I don't know. I mean, I can remember going to parents' evenings and meeting some of these teachers. I think, crikey, you know, you'd have been eaten alive in my day. You never would have made it. You know, but I don't know. Times change. Times do change, and I suppose I should try and change with them. But some days, I don't know, with all these things and all these labels that people have now, they always want to label themselves. You know, I don't know. We live in more enlightened, accepting times, I suppose. But let's put my taco on to rest for the time being, because I'm here for a little while now, so I'll just put it on rest. I don't know. Sometimes I just can't get my head around it. I really can't. You know, and that's more to do with me, I think, than anything else. But yeah, but there you go. So if you've made it this far to me dribbling on about who knows what, thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye for now.